Go on. Persona.
Persona 3 Reload is a game I've been wanting to play for a while, and finally, in the past week, I had just the right opportunity to do so. I was sick, with a cold, and restrained at home, and I needed a game to make me some company, so this very acclaimed JRPG was the right candidate to do so. And it was the right candidate because I am a very big fan of Persona and Persona 5 specifically. I've also played the fourth game, but I spent probably around 200 hours in Persona 5 between the vanilla version and the royal version with the DLC. The characters in that game are very beloved to me and to a lot of people. And I really liked the design, the music, the environment, everything about that game. Going through Shibuya and other cities of Tokyo was a very good experience. And I wanted to have a similar experience with Persona 3. I had the expectation that I would feel the same feelings that I felt with the fifth entry with Persona 3 Reload. And I need to say right away that I am a bit disappointed because I've already spent around 10 hours in the game and it feels like it is lacking in story. It is a bit directionless, I would say, in the sense that, for example, the protagonist of the game, Makoto, is an orphan who moves to Port Island to attend school. However, we are giving almost no context about his motivations, whether he is forced to move there or has any particular reason for doing so. On the other hand, Persona 5 immediately captivated me by introducing the protagonist as a kid who was falsely accused of attacking an adult and sent to Tokyo to live in a foster home to see if he can actually behave. Right from the start, because of this, I found it difficult to connect with the main character of Persona 3, which obviously did not help with my sense of immersion. While I understand that these games take their time to introduce their world and characters, the pacing in Persona 3 feels unusually slow. You are first introduced to your dorm mates Yukari, Junpei, Akihiko, and Mitsuri. They have been my companions throughout the first 10 hours of game, mostly as we cleared up floors in Tartarus. However, the strangest thing is that during these 10 hours, they haven't even opened social links yet. I could not engage with them or learn about their backstories during this time, so at 10 hours in, I barely know anything about these characters beyond surface level details. I know that Yukari practices archery, Junpei is inferiority complex because he's always making bad jokes about me being the leader of the party, and Mitsuru manages practically everything in the game, from the student council of the school to the team's excursions to Tartarus, since she is also a Persona user and, as the story at least tries to make me believe, the strongest Persona user. But their motivations, past experiences, and deeper personalities remain a mystery, at least up to this point. It is not just the character backstories that feel absent, the overall story feels missing, as I said. In the first few hours, I was introduced to the concept of the Dark Hour, a hidden 25th hour when shadows roam free. You discover that you are a Persona user, you save a friend, and then you are invited to join CIS, a group tasked with defeating these shadows in Tartarus. You also discover that you are special because the main character, the protagonist, is able to use multiple shadows, and with that, actually, you have one of the aspects of gameplay that I like the most in Persona. You are able to gather several personas, fuse them, and make ultimate personas, the best personas that you can do based on the confident levels that you were able to develop by engaging with characters in the game. In terms of gameplay, I really need to talk about the thing that I think is pivotal, which is Tartarus, which is the main dungeon of the game. and where most of the action occurs. And I do believe it is very uninspiring. It is a very repetitive dungeon that just pales in comparison to the palaces in Persona 5 or the diverse maps found in many modern JRPGs. Tartarus is a randomly generated dungeon that changes each time you visit it. But for 2024 or 5 standards, it feels dull. While the combat is flashy and the characters and menus designs are beautiful, I wish the same care was also been given to the shadows you fight in Tartarus. They feel a bit lazy in the first hours of the game in terms of design, and they also lack variety. After clearing around 43 floors of Tartarus, I'm feeling a bit tired of seeing the same layouts and fighting slightly tweaked versions of previously defeated shadows. Some of the bosses I faced were actually challenging and well designed, but they lacked personality. They had no spoken lines, seemed irrational, and did not display any motives for threatening human life. As the monotony started to set in, I found myself on Google searching when the story would pick up. After reading several Reddit discussions, I discovered that the pivotal moments don't even happen after you achieve the 30th or 40th hour in the game. 30 or 40 hours is a long time to endure before a game becomes fun, in my opinion. That's the kind of grind I did as a kid playing MMORPGs, believing that the real fun was in the end game. But back then, I now realize I was playing games that did not have much to offer beyond the grind. And Persona is not that type of game, at least not the type of game that I'm used to have to play a lot before I have fun. I had a lot of fun with Persona 5, as I said, right from the start, because the story opens very early. And yes, there are some moments that are a bit slower. There are some palaces in Persona 5 and some arcs that I didn't like as much, but overall the story is continually evolving, and I am not sensing that in Persona 3. My feeling with Persona 3 is that they gave me something in the first couple of hours, they opened the story, but in the next hours, the next 8 hours that I actually play the game, they barely gave me anything. I am just eating crumbs here. And you might say that I am impatient because I was expecting something more akin to Persona 5, but I just feel that Persona 3 is not feeding me any story. I am starving in regards to story. And I haven't been given enough backstory to feel engaged with the protagonist or his friends, if I even can call them friends at this point, given how little has happened up until now. In what regards to the gameplay, I've already went through so many repetitive floors of Tartarus that I feel like I've seen most of what it has to offer. Another reason the gameplay might not feel as compelling to me is that I am used to the expanded mechanics of Persona 5. After spending hundreds of hours with those mechanics, Persona 3 does not feel like it has much new to show me. One aspect that surprised me is how limited the world also feels. Despite being set on a large artificial island, the game only offers 3 locations to explore outside the school in the early game, and these places do not have much going on. Visiting them feels lonely. Cafes, karaoke bars, and shops are all places where you should be able to hang out with confidence, but instead, they feel empty and lifeless. For sure, there are a few things that I have enjoyed in the game so far. The soundtrack has some real bangers.
Oh, welcome back.
What's the plan?
Probably I don't like them as much as I did like Persona 5 soundtracks. I even have them on my phone. And in Persona 3, the characters and menu designs are also excellent. But that's about it for me at this stage. I am genuinely not having much fun with the game. I decided to make this video because you might be considering buying Persona 3 Reload, which is still quite expensive, and as far as I know, there hasn't been any sale with the game yet. So if you are expecting a game similar to Persona 5, you might end up disappointed, just like I am becoming disappointed with the game. The only reason I'm continuing to play it is because I've heard that for many, this game has one of the best stories in the Persona series. It is just that I'm not seeing it yet. I truly hope the game gets better, and maybe a few months from now I'll make a video explaining why I was wrong. I really hope that happens, but at this point I can't see how. I hope this video has not upset Persona 3 fans too much. I understand that this game appeals to fans of the original since it sticks closely to its roots, and that's probably why its pacing feels strange by modern standards, but I just wanted to share my perspective as someone new to the game, because you that are watching this video may be considering to buy your first Persona game, and in that case I truly recommend that you start with the 5th game, since it is more polished, it has more mechanics, and I do believe the story, at least from the start, is better. However, if you want to start with the 3rd game, with Persona 3 Reload, it is also a valid option. Please just keep in mind that the game starts very slow, and if you are just expecting from the start a very rich story, you may get disappointed like I am getting. Thank you so much for your time and for watching my content. If you liked it, please do not forget to leave a like, to subscribe, that helps me a lot. And well, have a good day. Bye bye.